Oh, here it is. That's what my mom said when she finally found what she had been looking for. And I'll tell you what she was looking for in just a second. Hi, everybody. My name is Bishop Friesch, and I want to welcome you to My Life Through Music. This next song that I want to introduce is a song that was recorded by the lovely Freda Payne, and it was released in 1970, and the name of that song was Band of Gold. And generally, this song is about a couple who had just been married, and for some reason, we're not told why, the guy has left, and the lady is hoping that he'll come back, and now that you're gone. And the band of gold is a wedding ring. Now that you're gone, all that's left is a band of gold. Now, all of the songs in my Life Through Music playlist have lyrical meaning. And what I mean when I say that is that a lot of the lyrics in the songs, or some of the lyrics in the songs, have an attachment, or they describe certain events, situations, feelings, emotions that I was feeling at the time. But not this song. Not these lyrics. In this case, it's the song. It's the song. And this song literally was the very first song I actually learned all the lyrics to. Why? I mean, out of all of the songs out there at the time, why this one? Well, here's why. I remember one day I was driving home with my mom. We were coming back from somewhere, and most likely it was probably the grocery store. And I was in the front seat, and my mom obviously was driving. And she was smoking, like she always did, especially when she drove. And when she drove, she usually drove mostly with her left hand, and her right hand, she had a cigarette, and every once in a while she'd grab onto it. But she would reach over in front of me, and she would, either turn the music up or down, or she would change the channel or the station by pressing really hard on these preset buttons. Do you remember those old radios where we had to push really hard and then the dial would kind of jerk back and forth? That's how the presets worked back then. And so we're in the car, and anyways, this song comes on, and it's a very catchy song. And my mom, she's singing along to it, and I'm in the passenger side, and I'm looking over, and I'm kind of listening and watching, and I started to kind of get the hang of it, by watching her and listening. And by the time the song was over, I had started to catch on to the words, some of the words, and the chorus, by kind of singing along. And while we were doing that, she would glance over, and she would kind of nod and encourage me and kind of move her, her arm to kind of signal okay, the chorus is coming back up. Here we go. And so we get home, and, I go to my room, like a kid, and I was probably 6 at the time. And so I'm in my room hanging out, and after a while, maybe after she was putting groceries away or whatever, she comes in my room with this stack of records, and she had albums on the bottom and 45s on top. And she had a big stack of them, and they were coming up to her chin, and she was holding them with her chin, and she was kind of coming into my room. And so she sets them down on the floor, and she gets down, and she grabs the 45s, and she kind of puts them up to her chest, and she starts kind of flipping through them. And then she goes, "Oh, here it is." And I didn't even know what a 45 was, till then. All I had was this cheap, single speaker record player that they got me that felt like or seemed like it was made out of cardboard, and it looked like a suitcase, because you could flip the top back down and you can like latch it so you can carry it somewhere. I mean, why would anybody want to carry this thing anywhere? And at that time, the only thing that I had played on it was I had one Disney record, and I had a record that was the story of Peter and the Wolf, and I had, believe it or not, I had Casper the Friendly Ghost Stories on another record. And that's all I had. So my mom tells me, she says, open up your record player and get it ready. And so she puts the record on, and, to my amazement, it's the song we were listening to in the car. And so we listened to it over and over and over again. And then my mom, she gets up and she goes, hold on. And she goes into the kitchen and she gets this like a notepad that it was like spiral bound on top, where you can like flip the pages over, but it was big, and you flip them over. And she started to write down the lyrics to this song. And so we started singing it over and over again and learning it. And then she gets this idea, and she goes, hey, let's get the tape recorder. And we get the tape recorder out, and it was this, the old rectangular tape recorders that, here, I drew a diagram. It's a cheesy diagram of it in my notes. It was rectangular shape, and on the bottom was the buttons that you push. Here's where the tape would go, and it would flip up like that when you hit eject. And then here's the the speaker. And so we get that. And so what we started doing was we started to play the record in the background, and we would sing along to it, and then we would record ourselves. And the funny thing about it was we kept messing up. I mean, we would start it, and then I would mess up. And then we started over again, and then she would mess up. And so the cool thing about it was, instead of rewinding it and recording over the mess ups, what we did was we would just stop it, and we would record it and start over again. So at the end, I don't even know if we got through the whole song, but at the end, we had two sides of a cassette of us singing the song along with the record, messing up, laughing about it, making fun of each other, and then starting over again. So what it sounded like was like bloopers at the end of a movie, or outtakes. Sometimes they show at the end of a movie. And the funny thing about it was, I was listening to it recently, and at 2 minutes and 29 seconds, that's where I remember her messing up all the time. And what she would do, for some reason, instead of Band of Gold, she was saying Sand of Gold. She kept messing up, and we would laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. And so that's what we did that day. We spent the entire afternoon trying to perfect that song, and I don't know if we even got to the end of the song without messing up, but I remember that afternoon distinctively. So let me ask you, do you have a song? Do you have a song that has no lyrical meaning whatsoever, no ties, but the song itself was there? And that's the only connection that you have to that person or that event or that feeling or situation. And what is that song? What is that song, and what kind of memories come up with it, or what kind of feelings come up with it? For me, it's obviously this song, Band of Gold. And why? Because it was my mom, and it was the laughing and the making fun of each other and the memories, and most of all, the music that went along with it. I've looked for that tape over the years. I've looked everywhere for that thing. And, you know, I keep pretending that, you know, one day I'm going to find it. You know, I sometimes, you know, daydream that, you know, I might be in the garage and I pull out this old dusty box, you know, and underneath some clothes or something, I'm going to find that tape and I'm going to be able to put it in a tape recorder, push play, and hear my mom's voice again. But I haven't found it. But even though that tape is probably long gone, her voice is still clear as ever, in my head, in my mind, and in my memories, and in my ears. And this is why this song is in my music library, and this is why it's where it's at in my Life Through Music playlist. Once again, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.